Hey everybody, we're back in the shed, and with me again is Dave Griffiths. What's up, Dave? Tell the people where we are today.
Well, I'm doing fine, Troy. We're out at Ace's Bar and Grill in Waco, our second remote location, I guess you could say. Looks dry here, amazingly.
Yeah, we're not underwater. We're not swimming.
It was yesterday.
Yeah. Today we are with the Towne Adams Band, and I'll get the guys to introduce themselves. It's the easiest way to do it, so let's start with you.
Storm, I play bass.
Towne Adams, vocals and guitar.
Jody Harlan, play guitar.
Chris Mejia, drums.
All right, and that's the Towne Adams Band. Thank you guys for being here. We'll see y'all next time.
Thanks for having us. All right.
All right. A lot of fun.
Well, let's start. How long have you guys been together?
I've had these guys with me for about 6 months, I guess, and yeah.
Yeah, we've been friends. Me and Towne have been friends for a lot of years. We've played together here and there, but
In different bands?
yeah, just jamming around.
Different bands. And Chris, the drummer, we played in a band together in high school for a little bit. Then he moved off to Arizona for what, 20 years or something?
20 years, yeah.
So I'm not saying we're old or anything, but
About 20 years.
So y'all were playing together when you were 2 or 3 years old, I guess.
yeah, pretty
exactly.
much. Yeah.
So tell the audience what kind of music you guys play.
Well, it's mostly just the stuff. About 95% of the stuff we do is stuff that I've written, and country rock, I guess, is what they consider it. Americana a little bit.
Americana outlaw.
Yeah. I don't know about the outlaw.
Well, they haven't seen us drink, so.
Well, you guys rock a little harder than that, because I listened to a couple of YouTubes, and
Yeah.
you get kind of almost a pseudo punk sound a little bit to it.
Yeah. Well, I grew up playing punk, and then I started slowing down, started playing kind of more rock and stuff like that. And it's just kind of mixture of all of it.
So,
you know?
Towne, who are maybe 2 or 3 of the bands that kind of you were digging on? Not that they influenced you, but
Oh, when I was younger.
yeah, sure.
Well, crap, the Misfits for sure. Black Flag
One of the first
All right.
bands Towne and I ever bonded over when we started talking was Social Distortion.
and Social
yeah,
Both
Distortion.
big
yeah.
Social D fans.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I can hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, and then grew up listening to Taylor and
Mellencamp.
Mellencamp and all that kind of stuff.
So you mix all those genres of music together, and you gotta.
and that's what comes.
You got
out, I
Towne
guess.
Adams Band.
Yeah. I guess
But
so,
you're
yeah.
writing original music and then just rocking out.
Yeah, pretty much.
When did you first start? When did you first pick up an instrument?
When I was 12, I started taking guitar lessons from a guy here in Waco, actually, Pat Kelly.
Yeah, I know Pat.
And, yeah, we've been buddies ever since. That was cool. I used to think he was an old man. Now, like, get along and hang out.
So when was your first band?
Well, I started my first band when I was 13, and we were called I Don't Know, because we thought it was so funny, because people would be like, "What's your band name?" We'd go, "I don't know."
It's like the Who.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And we were writing just crazy 3-chord stuff, and I'm still doing that today.
They eventually changed their name to Nirvana, made millions.
Yeah, yeah. They left me behind.
But, the one good thing, Towne's been doing what he's been doing for several years, and great thing about this lineup is, we all have a lot of different influences. Jody and I both come from a more rock background, but we both love country, and so it really, this current lineup kind of brings a whole different flavor to Towne's music that people have heard before, but it's a little bit different now, and it's got a little new taste to it, and a little bit more rock and roll even.
So you got a 4-piece with guitar, drums, bass, and
Towne
another
plays the
guitar and
acoustic,
vocals.
yeah.
You play acoustic mostly, Towne?
Yeah, acoustic.
The band? Okay, good sound.
We also have the harmonica, too.
Yeah, Towne, he
really?
also plays the harmonica
right.
with acoustic.
So are you guys from Waco?
Actually, I'm from Dallas originally. I've been in Waco, I guess, 10 years.
Originally from Austin.
I come from the Panhandle, small town Tulia.
So when did you first get to Waco? 9 years ago.
About
I guess.
9.5 years ago.
Did you
yeah.
know Towne before that? Or you
No, I met him when I first moved here. Actually, I didn't know anybody when I moved to Waco. I got out of the military and ended up in Waco. I'd never been here before, and been here ever since. Towne was one of the first people I actually met years ago when because I hang out in bars, and so does he. So that's where we first met, and kind of been friends ever since. And we've jammed here and there, but never really did anything serious till this.
So is this a full-time job? I know you own the bar, right?
Yes. We bought this bar in December. We've had it for about 6 months. And met Towne about 3 months before.
Do you book the bands as well?
No, I don't do the bookings, but I have a strong
You have an
say.
influence.
He's got a heavy hand for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, good.
You guys could be the house band.
Yeah.
Do you practice here?
We have a few times.
Do you practice? Because a lot of bands have been playing, guys, they've been playing forever. They don't even hardly have to practice. But I guess since you're doing original stuff, you got to learn the original
Oh yeah,
songs.
for sure. We like to rehearse. We try to get together at least once a week, and I enjoy rehearsals, especially with this band. We have a lot of fun and got a good laid back atmosphere, and so rehearsals. It's not so much work as it is a good time for sure.
Do you do any covers at all?
Yeah, I do a few covers. I do, and it's like the same covers I've been doing for a couple of years now.
What are some of those?
Well, I do some Merle Haggard.
Good.
And, I used to do some Social Distortion
All right.
and Soul Asylum and who else?
Oh yeah, I've
what's
got
his
that.
Todd Snyder.
Yeah, Soul Asylum, Grave Dancers Union. That's one of my favorite albums.
Great album.
Great album.
I think I've actually got Clam Dip and Other Delights too. I think I've got that album.
The album that like 7 people have.
Yeah, exactly. I have, but I grew up in Minnesota, so
Oh, yeah.
I love all that Minneapolis rock,
Midwest rock.
Yeah,
It's great stuff. Yeah, the
Yeah.
first time I went to go see Grave Dancers Union tour.
Oh, you saw them?
Yeah, they were playing with the Lemonheads.
Oh, no kidding.
And it was Dallas, and I was Cali. I guess that album came out, I was like 16 or something.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
it was the first time I experienced Mad Dog 2020. And I missed the whole concert. I was in the
You're
bathroom.
barfing your brains out.
Yes. In
Oh
the
God,
bathroom.
everyone's
Yeah.
at least my age and maybe within 10 years has got a MD 2020.
Oh, you said Mad
Barf
Dog, and I got the
story.
reflex reaction in my throat.
Mine
Yeah.
was Irish Rose.
Or Annie Green Springs
Boone's
or Boone's
Farm.
Farm. Yeah, right.
Was it Strawberry Hill?
Yep.
Yeah.
Strawberry
99
Hill.
cents.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Thunderbird.
that Mad Dog 2020 was the Orange Jubilee flavor.
Oh,
and I
God.
couldn't even smell orange juice for a year. I
Yes.
started gagging it, so you pull out.
So this
Yeah,
question
it's
is
cool.
for anybody. Talk about any notable gigs you played, big crowds, crazy crowds, or just any stories you got.
We did a show a few weeks ago with this really great band out of Austin called Crooks, and they're horribly talented. I mean, amazingly talented, not horribly talented. Awesomely talented band.
What kind of music would you categorize?
What did they call it? Spaghetti Western.
Yes.
They had accordion and violins and
A little
fiddles and-
downbeat, but they
Yeah,
could rip.
Yeah, a little Tex-Mex. They're from like San Antonio originally, or somewhere down there. So it's
Yeah.
like a little, something you'd see in an old, 50s
Right.
Western movie. Yeah.
Where was that show?
What's that? O'Brien's and Temple.
O'Brien's and Temple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun.
Good club.
Yeah, we got one coming up this weekend at what is it? Old Texas Brewing Company in Burleson.
Burleson, that's a good gig.
Should be a good show.
So you guys are getting outside of Waco and other places. You get doing Austin and Dallas and Houston and other places, out of state
Yep.
stuff even.
Out of state, that's what I'm working on, because got a management company out of Baton Rouge and hooking back up with them. So we should be back in Louisiana. I used to play there all the time. So
All right,
excited to
man.
get back.
What about an album?
Album, gonna record some singles before too long. Just got to come up with some cash first.
Yeah, so if anybody wants to donate, TowneAdams.com.
You guys got a song you might want to throw down real quick?
Yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Get some guitars.
All right, this song's called Living Like This. It's the only song I've ever written in jail, and hopefully the last. Yes, I get up each day, hit the mirror and check my face, see the lines of falsehood of yesterday. I need a breath of fresh air and the thought that someone cared, regardless of all that I've done. Ain't like I'm living like this for fun. sent me to therapy. Crazy pills did nothing for me. Left me jaded and pissed and misunderstood. My small Stanton County jail made me weary and so aware that if I don't change, I'll be the next to go. Be the next to go. I get up each day, in the mirror and check my face, see the lines of false hope yesterday. Need a breath of fresh air and the thought that someone cared regardless of all that I have done. Ain't like I'm living like this for fun. Gotta change some ways or I am done. There's a better life than this constant run. Ain't like I'm living like this for fun. Ain't living like this for fun. Like this for fun. Thank y'all.
So, Towne, talk about the songwriting process. You said you wrote that song in jail. What inspired that song?
Jail.
Jail.
Did you have a guitar in jail? Did you have a guitar in jail?
No, you had some toilet paper and a harmonica. And he cut himself so he could write.
No, I just wrote it in my head. I had plenty of time to sit and think and memorize what I was going to write down.
What led to your early demise?
Your incarceration?
Yeah, I guess I should say that. You're not demised, but what led to your incarceration?
Murder. No, driving.
Yeah, driving and drinking.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
So what's your inspiration when you write songs in general? I mean, talk about your writing process.
Well,
Do you start out with music first, or you start out with lyrics first, and then you write the music to the lyrics? Or because when I write songs, I write the music first. Lyrics was the last thing I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
I'm more about the music. But how do you do it?
both ways. I mean, like when I first started writing years ago, I did the music, first, and then would write lyrics around it. But now I think it's kind of changed. Now I've been writing lyrics like crazy and trying to. It's almost harder, I think, because then you're trying to figure out how it's going to fit and all that kind of stuff. But
exactly.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah, for me, it's easier to write the lyrics and the melody around the music that you already have laid down than to write the lyrics first. Yeah. You probably got a lot more to say now. I mean, we're a lot older now.
Well, and with this band too, like we've gotten where we started to write as a band too. So sometimes we'll just be at practice and something happens, and we just kind of start jamming on something, and so. Sometimes it just kind of falls together.
Yeah.
The music comes out, and he has lyrics. He starts flipping through sheets of lyrics,
whatever will fit the tone of the song.
Yeah. You guys record some of your open jams just to, remember it in case you've been drinking too much, or.
Well, we haven't started recording.
There's those guys that have always had the tape player running. No matter.
We've talked about it. We've discussed the fact that we probably should, but
that's what we used to do, because we used to. I would maybe come up with the first verse of something and maybe a chorus, but in the rest of it, I'm just mumbling a bunch of stuff. I'd go back and listen to it over and over and say, oh, I actually said something there, and then I would piece it together and actually make a song out of it. So,
I actually started doing that a year ago. I bought one of those little Tascam recorders.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, little 4-track.
Yeah, I mean, no, this thing's it's handheld. It's like,
oh really?
Yeah, little handheld Like the kind of thing you use at in college, you know, to film your or tape your lectures or whatever.
And it's worked out. It's worked out pretty good because I forget so much stuff.
So in your long career, how many songs do you think you've written?
A lot. A lot I've thrown away. If I kept them all, you know, probably hundreds. But you know, I have a catalog. There's so many songs I've written that I just don't play anymore. Stuff I outgrew them, kind of like you were saying earlier. You know, you write a bunch of stuff in your 20s and stuff like that, and
In your teens that are just, you look back at and they're just
Life was different back then. Different things were important.
Yeah, a lot different.
Is there anyone right now that, I mean, you know, when I came in here, I heard some Gary Clark playing. You know, I love that.
I love Gary Clark. Yeah.
Yeah, Junior.
Junior.
And is there anyone that you've been hearing lately that's really kind of sparked you and maybe made you kicked in the ass?
Well, guys like that, when I get out, but I've gotten to the point where I really don't listen to much radio anymore.
Right.
And one of the main reasons, because the van we're going to start traveling in and stuff like that, the stereo is pretty much broken in it.
Well, that'll do it.
We're not having a radio now.
Yeah. So, not really. I mean, I don't know. I like, when I do sit down and listen to people, you know, I still listen to Leonard Cohen a lot and stuff like that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. Great songwriter.
Yeah. Just try to get kind of stealing ideas, you know, like everybody does, and you know, get their
Can't get water from a
writing
dry
style.
well.
It's not stealing ideas, it's finding inspiration.
Finding
Yeah,
inspiration.
that's what it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
When do you write a song? Do you sit down and go, okay, I'm going to write a song that sounds like a particular band? You go, I'm going to write a song that sounds like Led Zeppelin, or I'm going to write a song that sounds like. That's what I do. Sometimes I go, I'm going to write an Alice in Chains type song. Do you ever do that, or you just whatever comes out comes out? It's
just just pretty much whatever starts coming out, I just run with it, pretty much.
It's usually affected by the amount of alcohol and his mood. And what sound comes out.
So you never know. Yeah, our newest song I wrote and got him to write some of the guitar parts with me and stuff. I don't even remember writing that song. It was like 2 days of non-sleep and stuff like that, and then wrote down crazy lyrics, but it stuck. And people like it, so gonna keep it.
It's a keeper.
It's a keeper.
So do you have particular songs when people come to your gigs that go, hey, we want to hear this song? Is there standout songs?
There's a few, yeah.
Barfly.
Barfly, is that reference to the famous movie that I loved, To My Friends?
Yeah.
You know, with Mickey Rourke. That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, actually it was. Beautiful. Ours is called Beautiful Barfly, but yeah, anytime you can have anything Charles Bukowski is going to be a good thing.
Yes, it is. And that was an awesome movie, and that was really, I think, Mickey Rourke at his peak.
Yeah. I don't know what he did after that, really.
Well, he came back, you know, but he did the wrestling. That was his comeback. But no, Barfly is with Faye Dunaway. That's an awesome movie.
Great movie.
So talk about some of y'all's inspirations when you guys were growing up.
Well, like I said, I come from a rock and roll background, heavy metal background, but also country from my grandparents and my family. And for me, it's everything from Bob Wills, the Texas Playboys, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and of course,
let's give it up for Mr. Gimbel right now.
Johnny Gimbel Jr. Yep.
Yeah.
Rest
Cheers.
in peace. Salud. And then, you know, everything from that to Pantera for me. You know, being a Dallas boy, you know, Pantera, Stevie Ray, a lot of what I call that Texas sound. You know, that Southern Texas groove. You know, and then you take that and blend it with a little George Strait, and you know, kind of ranges everywhere from that, and you know, a little Alice in Chains, and I don't know, a little bit of everything. You know, Muddy Waters. I don't know. I kind of listen to every kind of music. I think that's kind of all of us. We all kind of like a wide variety of different stuff.
Yeah.
I think what got me going was CCR, more like John Fogerty, you know, that type of music.
Yeah, I love CCR. Yeah.
Pretty much the old Led Zeppelin and.
Is there a new one?
Pretty much in that realm, and you know, and then I started listening to country because of my parents and stuff like that. And George Strait was one of my favorites, still is today. You know, and it just went off from there, and we started playing stuff like what we're playing, and it does kind of resemble, well, not resemble, but kind of everything is all pretty much.
It's an amalgam of all your different styles.
All my inspiration came from hee-haw.
Like Storm said, you know, everybody brings something different to the table, and it's coming out with the sound, and it's awesome.
I think that's one thing I like about playing in this band is we don't walk in and say, all right, it's got to sound like this or it needs to sound like that. It's just kind of, we just play. You know, Towne does what he does, and then Jody just starts laying down tracks, and Chris keeps that rhythm, and I follow along, and it just kind of all falls into place, and whatever comes out is just what it is. And then we don't look at it as rock or country or blues. It's us. You know.
Well, Jody, you're kind of the quiet man over here.
He is.
Corn
dog.
What are some of the chord progressions that you come up with, and who do you really like that's really, kind of influenced you as well?
Well, I started playing guitar when I was 14 years old, and one inspiration was Eddie Van Halen.
Of course.
I mean, that was it for me. I started trying to tap as soon as I picked up a guitar, you know what I mean? But, and it was a lot of hair bands. I loved the guitar of 80s rock. I loved it. But as I got a little better at it, I got a little more respect for the old things, like the old Led Zeppelin, not the new Led Zeppelin. You know, Jimmy.
Not the In Through the Outdoor Led Zeppelin, the Led Zeppelin 2 Led Zeppelin.
You know, of course, everybody goes back and they revisit the classic rock, and they do that. And, and then, it was just all about writing music and writing riffs and getting things together and making bands and just writing my own music. And I loved writing my own riffs, writing my own lyrics, singing, and doing all that. Here, in the past couple of years, well, 2 years ago, my last band, when we finally ended, I re-looked at myself. I kind of reevaluated myself and started looking deeper into guitar, and I kind of felt like I was in a rut. So I wanted to teach myself something, so I started looking deeper into the blues, and I started studying all the old blues guys, the Howlin' Wolf, and the Muddy Waters. And Joe Bonamassa is one that's really stuck out for
Joe's
me.
the man. In fact, his podcast, I've listened to every one of his podcasts.
His podcast kind of inspired what we're doing in the shed.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
He's been a real, and then I got with Towne, and it was like, how can I interpret the blues into country? I'm just like, country I've never played before. It's like, but country and the blues are kind of the same thing,
hand in hand,
in a small.
Well, they all came from Mississippi.
Yeah. So it was.
So I'm assuming there's not
start a blues band, or it's like getting a country band.
So there's not a lot of tapping going on in Towne Adams Band.
There's not a lot of tapping at all.
Just Towne's foot.
But there's some bending.
Oh yeah, there's some bending, and I try to incorporate a lot of blues into it, but. Another thing that I'm trying to teach myself now is chicken picking. It's something I've never done before.
So Roy Clark, that'll school you.
It all
quick.
goes back to hee-haw.
It all goes back to hee-haw. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel your pain.
Albert Lee and those kind of guys, they'll humble you quick.
Do you feel like over the years when you're playing, up until you say you reevaluate yourself, you just playing the same thing over and over, just in different areas? Because that's how I feel sometimes when I'm playing a guitar lead to a song. Like, I played the same shit.
It feels like
over and over.
The songs that you write start to become repetitive. It's like, I've done this before, I've done that before, I've done that riff before, I've done this riff before. Yeah. And you as a guitar player, you like to keep teaching yourself new ways to do things.
So what was your first guitar? And how you said when did you start playing? 14?
My first guitar was a Fender Bullet, and I borrowed it from a guy. It's like a Squire, almost a Squire. I think it's below a Squire.
It's like a South American.
I think it's a Chinese Mustang is what it is.
Made in Indonesia.
But I borrowed it and never gave it back. But actually, before that, I had an acoustic guitar that my father gave me. It was a classical guitar, and it was the first guitar I ever had. And I took it home, and it had nylon strings on it, and I've never tuned a guitar before, but I decided to restring it. So I restringed this guitar with all bronze strings.
Oh, acoustic
I
strings.
have no idea how to tune a guitar, and I get it all in tune, just like I like it, and it's like, all right, sounds good, and I walk into my living room, and I sit there, and I hear this donk.
Yeah, you broke
in
the
the
neck,
other room,
right?
and I walked
Yeah.
from the bridge and snapped off the guitar. So that
Yeah,
was
you're
my
supposed to use a nylon sound.
first guitar lasted about 2 hours.
That's a funny
First
story.
lesson you learn in the life of a musician.
What do you guys think about the age of the internet and the way music is going? I mean, you can just record a song on your laptop these days and put it out there for the world to see. I mean, almost
I think
instantly.
it's awesome. I think it takes music out of the hands of the music giants of the world, the big record label conglomerates, and puts it back in the hands of the artist that writes the music. You know, I think past 15, 20 years, music's lost a lot of its soul because the music with a soul, you don't get to hear it. You know, it's all what the record labels want you to hear. And now with modern age of the internet, people with talent can actually put their music out there for the world to hear. And
it's true.
You know, it opens up a lot of doors. If I'd had this kind of technology at 17, when I had the drive I had at 17, I'd have probably gone a lot further.
If you had the YouTube, you could learn your bass licks a lot quicker.
For sure. I mean, that's how I learned to play bass. You know, because I was actually a guitar player for 23 years.
If I didn't have XM radio, I would have never heard it. Most of the people that I've heard in the past 2 years.
Oh yeah, I'd say the record labels, radio, it's all the same. They force feed you what they think is popular, what they think and most of it's garbage. You know, it's written by a group of Swedes. You know, and the real
That's
good
true.
music.
And I gotta say, I haven't listened to terrestrial radio except for probably NPR in like 15 years.
Yeah.
I've had Sirius XM for that long, and that's when I'm in my car.
Rock station, you hear the same AC/DC song, no matter what.
And there's 1,000 AC/DC songs.
Exactly. They play the same 3 or 4 songs from the same 8 or 10 bands, and it just there's so much music out there.
They throw a little Nickelback in there.
Oh
to break
yeah,
it up.
that makes it all worthwhile.
Fuck Nickelback.
That's hilarious.
Well, hey, you guys want to head inside and play another song? Are we going to do something with some electric guitar, or what are we going to do?
We can do that.
What song are we going to do?
New one. It's called Oh Me, Oh My.
All right, cool. We want to thank you guys for being on our show and having us out here at ACES and having some beers and having a good time, man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great, guys.
Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys.
Let's end with a jam.
It's called Oh Me, Oh My.